What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the PlayStation Drive, episode 112. My name is Matt, and I'll be your host for this journey's events. I'm joined, as always, by the Supreme Court of Canada himself, Mr. Court Lalonde. What's up, Court?
Hey, buddy. I just realized in our intro, it goes from The Last of Us, Part 1, the better game, to Final Fantasy VII, the remake. I'm wondering if I can get him to change it so we end on the better game, and we're on the one that's...
So you want me to put on Last of Us Part 2 at the end?
No, we don't want to do that.
That's what I hear, is that you want me to put in Last of Us Part 2 at the end. Well, that's why we don't have Last of Us Part 1 at the end. This week, we are joined by the Banjo-Kazooie King himself from Walmart Canada Gaming. What's up, Riley? Thanks for hanging out with us, my dude.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. That's a heck of a title.
I know, I had to do it.
I appreciate it.
Of course. How you doing?
Good. I'm a big fan of the podcast. A bigger fan than my headphones, evidently. Thank you for having me.
That's all right.
I already said it, the bigger the cans, the better. And now this week, it's even better because I heard it, Court, now. I heard it now, okay? Going to stay with it. But also, I mean, we have to have you on. You're a wealth of knowledge, an awesome dude, and we have to have you on to rock with us. And now the podcast is even just better looking than it was before, so that never hurts.
Oh, wow. I'm flattered, to be honest. That's the nicest thing I've ever heard.
At that video game wars. It should have just been like recording it live.
Here he is, right? Yeah. Here he is. It's Walmart. There he is. Look at him.
Hey, I bought something at Walmart yesterday. I got some LOL dolls for my daughter's friend's birthday party.
I actually also bought something at Walmart yesterday. Funny
for your daughter's friend, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. But that's all I have where I live, Riley. I have a Walmart, I have a Source, and I have 2 McDonald's because one is in the Walmart.
Listen, every time he buys one of these dolls, I get a private unboxing video. I never ask for them, but every time I get one, okay? Without further ado, let's clean the garage because we have a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about this week, including a bunch of Spider-Man 2 news, Project Q leaked, and a whole bunch more, so strap in and get ready. But if you're watching us live right now on youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, head over, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Leave us a comment. We appreciate the comments, folks. It means a lot to us. Like the stream, do the thing. We appreciate you all very, very much. If you're listening to us on your podcast service of choice, then please make sure you go to leave us that 5 stars. Hit us with that review. We appreciate it always. And of course, if you have bucks to toss our way, head to patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. Put in bucks in the tip jar, and out comes a cornucopia of content for you to consume. Without further ado, as always, we need to talk about what we've been playing lately because there's a wealth of games. There are too many. I feel like it's supposed to be backlog season, but I can't even catch up on that. Riley, I'm going to start with you. What have you been playing lately?
I was binging Pikmin 4 all weekend.
Nice.
It is so good. And in between that, I've been trying to finish Final Fantasy 16.
Okay. How are you feeling about Pikmin 4 so far?
I love it. I think it's the best game in the series.
Really?
Pretty handily, yeah.
I need to ask because it's like Pikmin, I don't know. I've tried to get into it before. There's just something about the controlling a ton of little things around me that like breaks my brain. Should I give Pikmin 4 a go here?
I would, and I would do it because there's a free demo on the eShop, and the progress from that carries over to the full game. So if you like it, then you're pretty much set. Although I have to say, no, it's not really lemmings. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like you're controlling these little Pikmin, these plant creatures. But your problem that you mentioned, Matt, was that there was too many of them. And you didn't really know how to control them, probably walking around, or they would get eaten off from the side and stuff.
Yeah, I just got overwhelmed by the sheer amount of them.
Yeah, so this one they've kind of streamlined that a lot by giving you a dog named Ochi. And if you can ride him, and when you do that, all the Pikmin will jump on. So it's like more contained, easier to control everything. Like it is easier. Although the first hour and a half of the game is a tutorial, and it is so slow. But after you get through that, it's great.
Listen, I have no problem. Persona, I play too many JRPGs. The tutorials are like 4 hours long. An hour and a half sounds like a walk in the park. So no worries there. And what about Final Fantasy 16? How's that journey treating you?
I love it. I think it's really good. Yeah, I think like you're always waiting for the next big boss battle because those big cinematic fights are the coolest part of the game easily. Mm-hmm. But the in-between's a little slow, but it does make the build up to those moments like worth it.
They're huge. They're just so much fun. Those like Titan fights are just like just incredible. Loving it. Cool. Well, I'm glad that you're going to continue on with both of those. Court, what about you, my friend? What's been on your docket? You've been going through your cleanse. Are you back on the gaming now? Are you feeling better? Where are you at?
I played one game this weekend, and I have to preface that by saying thank you to my friends over at Ubisoft for providing me a code to the beta. I was playing the Crew Motorfest. I actually really liked it. I've never played any of the Crew before. I also found out if you played the previous games, all your cars, even in the beta, were there that you've used previously. I haven't really found many games that let you take things that you've purchased or things that you've unlocked in previous games to bring it over. I don't know how they do that with all the licensing, because licensing is an issue, I would assume. But I was playing with people and they're like, had this car. And I'm like, how did you get this car? And they're like, well, I unlocked it in the Crew too. I was like, interesting. It is Forza, but different. So it's Forza Horizon. And then, so it's Forza, but a little different. I would say this, because there are planes and there's motorcycles, and then there's also like F1 type cars. Oh yeah, these are true facts. So now he's throwing me off talking about the game just by you throwing it up on the screen. But I would say I am 100% going to jump into this game. The difference between this and Forza, for me, I felt the cars handled better.
Okay.
In the Crew, I thought it felt more. I'd say it felt more lifelike. I think in Forza, when I'm like off road, my car doesn't go out of. It just keeps driving. It has no issues being off road. In this, you touch a little bit of the dirt on the side, it's like a real car. Like, you're going to have some issues and you gotta fix yourself. The one thing I will say, but it is a beta, the graphics compared to say something like Forza, even when I'm playing on regular mode, the graphics weren't as good. I felt like I was just playing with driving a car in Far Cry. So there was I had a lot of pop-in issues. So that is something that I did notice. I was playing on performance over graphics. I never switched to graphics mode because I am playing a car racing game. So to me, I want the frames per second. So we'll see what happens more with this car. Yeah, Forza. But I think 100% it's day one. I played with a couple people from the community. Stingray X jumped in and we were playing on stream. It seems like a really fun game. And they took a lot of the great things from Forza Horizon and put it in this game. So and then this is one that everybody can play that's not just on Xbox.
When is this game coming out again?
I believe I'll have to double check. Hold on. I got it right here in front of me. The beta ends today. Yes, today. But everybody can hop in the beta. I gave it out to people. Wow. How is it taking so long to get a release date? Pre-order. Here we go.
Doing it live, folks. That's how we do.
Choose. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh my God. Why is this so painful? Hold on.
Motorsport. No,
you
not
look
Forza.
It up. I think it's October, but
which one? Motorfest?
Motorfest. No.
Yeah? Motorfest. September 11th.
Yep. There you go.
That gets
so at least it's not with all the ridiculousness that's going to happen to all of us in a couple months.
No. It's not like it's a week after Starfield or anything.
And it's not even that. Like, it's also right before Assassin's Creed, which I'm going to want to play. And
it's like a month before Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but still, it's so close to Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed, and then I've also got Spider-Man 2, where we're gonna be. It's gonna be bad.
Bros.
So
Wonder.
It's like no playing games in my arm.
Crazy month.
Oh yeah, and maybe some game that we'll talk about later that's gonna come out at the exact same time too.
Pikmin 5?
No, that game that you won't stop talking like it's the greatest game ever when it's not.
There's so many I just have such good taste. But guys, I'm glad you've been enjoying that. I'm excited that the Crew has hopped up your list, because when we saw it at the Ubisoft showcase, we were all like, it looks good. Not really, crazy about it, but I guess the beta has sold you on it more, so that's great.
I would even say Final Fantasy did a great job of this, letting us a demo. A lot of these games that are not top on people's lists, the developers just recently, and I've noticed that this year, they're either doing the beta or they're doing the demos. I didn't like the fact that one thing I'll say about this at the Crew, they did offer a whole bunch of codes because it was a closed beta, but I would almost say, like, let everybody jump in and play it. The amount of people after I gave away my 3 codes were like, hey, do you have any extra codes? And I was like, I think that's a missed opportunity, especially on a game like this that's going to be released within a bunch of different games at the same time. If they're giving out and letting people try them beforehand, Final Fantasy proved it. You get more sales.
Okay. Riley, does the Crew do anything for you?
Yeah, I actually got to play it in LA.
Nice.
At the Ubisoft event. It's great. It's fun. I think it's the perfect alternative to Forza for PlayStation fans.
There you go. Yeah. Well, folks, it's coming in just a few months, so stay strapped in because we'll have more coverage for you coming for that. I'm sure we will. As for myself, I've been continuing on with my journey with Cold Steel 4. Still loving it. Still trying to get my way into Reverie because that game, I just cannot wait. But guys, I got to say, the more I see of Baldur's Gate, this game went from me not being excited for it whatsoever to being like, do I need to buy this now? Do I need to get this? Yeah, dude.
I swear I need like a dictionary. Every time you mention a game besides the last one, I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you not see all the rounds on X about the bear scene? You know?
Oh yeah, because you can have sex with a bear. Yeah.
Bear druid that goes into a bear. Okay.
So why is it that gamers get excited when they're allowed to have sex with different types of things?
Did you say druid that goes into a bear?
That turns into a bear, and then you can go into the bear.
It's same. I think you're right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, not wrong though.
So we got jetpack sex in Starfield on Xbox, and then we have bear sex in Baldur's Gate.
Right.
Okay.
So who's the gatekeeper and who's the keymaster?
It just doesn't matter. Anything can happen. It's space. It's magic. Anything goes, Court. Anything goes.
Imagine we could have like a GTA in space.
Wow. And
I couldn't fathom anything like that.
We lost
that wouldn't be
and about.
And she's out. But yeah, what's it called? I'm really looking at it now. I might pick it up on Steam Deck because it comes out way earlier. But Cold Steel 4 continues to be awesome. I love these characters. I love this world, and I'm excited to keep going with it. I think I'm around the halfway point on my trail to Reverie. But without further ado, guys, we have a bunch of questions. We have a bunch of stories to talk about. So let's kick things off.
Stop looking at the chat,
very first. No, never. We got a bunch of Marvel Spider-Man 2 news over the weekend because Comic-Con has hit, and there was such great actors like Cosmo the dog. Because obviously the strike going on. Please support everybody. And also we got some Marvel Spider-Man stuff. Yuri was there. We got the cast of the game showing off a new trailer, a new story trailer. We got our first look of Venom in action. And guys, the more I see of this game, the more absolutely excited I get. Riley, I got to ask, where's the check-in for Spider-Man 2? How are you feeling about it?
Oh, I'm hyped. That's an easy game of the year candidate.
Oh, yes.
Like, that's going to be a lot of fun.
I cannot wait. In Court, the big hot button question here, because there's theories, there's conversations. Let's bring in a friend into the car today. Right now, because there's a question from Nagachaka over on the Discord who says, I want to know from each and every one of you, who is Venom in Spider-Man 2? Is it Harry Osborn? Perhaps it's Craven. Maybe it's actually Peter Parker fighting himself. Or could it be Mary Jane Watson? Or maybe, just maybe, it's Spider-Cat from Miles Morales. So, Court, who's Venom?
For me, just by watching the trailer, I love how people want to have the conspiracy theories, and I even talked about it on the weekend with people, and they're like, well, they could be, that's what Marvel does. They throw you in a different direction. I think we're just so used to that. After this trailer, I don't see how it's not Harry. The trailer is about Harry. It ends with Venom saying the same thing that Harry said at the very beginning of the trailer. They even show you during this trailer how Spider-Man gets the suit. And then they even everything about this tells me it's Harry. So it's Harry.
Riley, where are you at on Venom?
I think Court's on the money on this. It's certainly implied that it's Harry, and if you've played the past game, spoiler, Harry kind of has it already. So, and they even mentioned it in the first gameplay trailer that they're like, "Oh, I got to get to Harry," and then he's running around Peter Parker's running around with the symbiote suit. So, the setup seems there. I don't know if Harry's going to have it, lose it to Spider-Man. And then it'll come back after Spider-Man defeats it, and then it'll become Venom, or how they're going to structure it. But it's going to be a good ride.
Listen, more than likely, you're both right. Okay, dollars to donuts, it's going to be Harry. Okay, it looks like it. We saw him with the spoilers for Miles Morales and for the original game. We saw the symbiote on him, in the tank. You're probably right, Court. You nailed it. They both say we're going to heal the world, but I have to put my tinfoil hat on. Okay. Fair. Because and Court, I've had this theory for a little while, and I just don't know if they're going to be gutsy enough to swing for the fences with it. I still think there is a tiny chance that it is Peter. I think that this game, similar, and shout out to Andrew from We the Nerdy over in the Discord, because again, this is exactly where my head's been at too. I think this might be the point where Peter loses control and becomes Venom. I think maybe the screens that we've seen, because think about it, we haven't seen the two of them on screen together. We've seen concept art, but we haven't seen Venom and
we've definitely seen concept art that usually ends up being in the game. Yes, correct.
Yes. Believe
okay,
me.
Is this you just agreed with me?
I know. Listen, you're probably
he can't
right.
fight himself.
Listen, have you seen the statue that comes with it though?
I know. It's the two of them fighting.
Yeah, they're fighting Venom.
They're both fighting. But what a twist!
Hey,
what a twist!
Matt
would that
just
be?
wants to be like, look what I can do.
It could be. If they want to totally misdirect people, it would be an interesting statue choice.
That'd be a very expensive misdirect.
Yeah.
It would be. But again, I'd be in on it. If they actually went full board to make Peter the actual villain, if you fight Craven in the first half, and then you go after Peter in the second half with Miles, I think there's definitely going to be a boss fight in there, but I want them to go full in on Venom.
What's the story direct at that point, though?
Peter is lost so much at that point. We know he lost Aunt May in the first game. I think drive a further wedge between Mary Jane and him, possibly lose Harry halfway through the game. I think there's just going to be so much loss that happens to him, which is why if in the world where everything we've seen so far is a misdirect, this trailer's a misdirect where they're making it seem like it's Harry, but he actually, let's say he loses his fight to the illness that he has. He dies halfway through. Something happens to Mary Jane. Something happens to Miles. And I'm not saying they're going to kill everybody off, but
jeez, you really will die. It's like a Sopranos episode. It's just like,
dude,
let them all die.
Done. Last of Us, this baby. And then I think he could give in just under the weight of everything around him.
So I like where you're going to lead into the Spider-Man 3, but I truly, truly believe that Peter kills Harry in the end, who's Venom. And that's his loss. And that's where we get, and I'm going to go with this, and I'm never going to let this one go. That's where we get Spider-Gwen. We'll get the next like Miles Morales game, which is Spider-Gwen. And then Spider-Man 3 is Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, the three of them. And they're bringing getting Spider-Man back and getting back his confidence and everything. And
I think that's also a very good catalyst to introduce Green Goblin.
Exactly.
Because he'll want revenge on Harry's death. I'm just assuming. I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, I would think they would have to kill Harry at the end, and that's going to be a lot for Peter to kill his best friend. So
I think it won't be Peter's fault, but Norman Osborn
maybe Miles does it.
That right?
Well, I think it might be one of those things like we saw in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man, right? Harry was convinced that Spider-Man killed his father, killed Green Goblin. All we're going to get is an inverse of that, where he's going to think that that Spider-Man killed Harry when it was actually their fight, the suit, whatever. Again, more than likely it's Harry, but I want to live in a world where it's Peter because I think that'd be really, really.
Hey, Matt's
cool.
Usually right on these crazy things.
This is out there, dude. So. This is out there. I'll be the first one.
I get it.
We'll definitely have elements of him as Venom. They 100%. Kind of implied that. So I don't think you're off the money too far.
I think he gets caught because if you see that trailer when he's on top of Lizard, that's when they first find out that Venom can be changed by sound. Because when Lizard lets out the thing, everybody was like, "Oh, Lizard is Venom," and then that's Venom getting. I was like, "Well, no, that's no. The noise and the suit's getting crazy." And that's when I think when that happens, that'll be the first time that Peter separates from the suit for just like a tiny smidge and starts to be like, because that's what happens in the comics or the cartoons and stuff. When he has that first separation, it's when he tries to break free, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's when that happens. And then when he's with Harry, the suit goes right back to Harry because that's where it was before.
Yeah. I think this is going to be really, really interesting. No matter what they do, I trust Insomniac and the crew over there. They're going to completely make it awesome. Alongside this new trailer, we also got confirmation of a PS5 console Marvel Spider-Man 2 limited edition bundle. We got the console with some new plates. We got a controller. Finally, Court, we have been asking for this for so long. We've been asking for more customizable stuff with our PS5s because it's what they promised when we first heard about it. And this is the first real look at what this is going to look like. We also got confirmation that the controller and the plates will be sold separately. So you don't have to go all in and buy a new console with this because believe me, I was this close. I was having conversations with my wife being like, listen, I know I have one, but Court has a mountain of them. He sits on that thing. I want my own stack of PS5s. But I'm all in on this. Riley, how are we feeling about the plates, the console, and the controller?
I'm so excited. It's always great when you know that they're leaning hard into a release by dropping stuff like this. Like you see it with Starfield, you see it with Zelda, like limited edition controllers and consoles and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like I really like that Sony is leaning into it with the PlayStation brand, and I think it's going to pay off huge for them.
I'm with you. Court, where are you at on this?
I'm just happy they're finally doing it. We've been saying this, like when the Final Fantasy plates came out and they weren't available in North America. I thought it was a lost opportunity, and I think based on sales, I would say that it was a lost opportunity when you have 3 million copies sold and everybody jumps into this game. I'm actually shocked that they've taken this long for PlayStation to do something like this. I think the controller looks great. My hope, to be totally honest, for the future is maybe do something. They could do the carbon copy of Design Lab from Xbox, which I think is amazing. I don't think Sony would do something, but I wouldn't be shocked if Sony in the next year might do a Design Lab for the plates.
See, it's almost too easy. It makes almost too much sense for
they like money. I don't know why. That's the way I look at it. I'm like, PlayStation people would definitely design their own plates if they could.
Right, 100%. Like, I think they would obviously have to figure out licensing with some of this stuff if they're going to let you play with it and do it yourself. But I think it's a slam dunk. But I'm going to bring in Fulia from the community because she has some thoughts and feelings as well. Fulia says, all right, I feel like I might be in the minority with this opinion, but the Spider-Man 2 design for the PS5 covers and DualSense controller seems to be a bit too basic for me. I feel like the team over at Sony could have been a bit more creative with this, but I'm happy to at least see something like this finally available to us players. With that in mind, if you were the designer for the Spider-Man 2 themed PlayStation, what would you do? So I'm actually I'm gonna agree with Fulia here. I think it looks great. I'm excited. I'm gonna be buying all of it. Do I wish it was a little cooler? I'm not gonna lie. Yes. Like, I do think it does, especially with us already having a black controller. This is really just a bit of red with the tendrils on it. I wish they did something a little more, either go full in on Venom or work this in a little bit. I think it looks cool, but especially seeing some of the stuff that we've gotten out of Xbox on their exclusive side, like the Halo controllers looked fantastic. The Starfield controller is beautiful. It is beautiful. So I feel like it's so nice. I feel like because we've gotten nothing from them, I'm taking whatever I can get at this point. Like, we've gotten so little from them that I'm like, yes, I'm happy. I'm happy it exists, but I do wish it was a little bit cooler. Like, either go on more in on Venom as a concept, have more of Spidey on it. I don't know, something than just the black and red that we've got. But Riley,
I was hoping they would have embossed it.
Okay.
If on the plates themselves actually had like an embossed Spider-Man, so you could actually feel it. So one side, like maybe do the half
like
and
actually
half.
Yeah.
Sticky.
So that my thought
covered in glue.
Like, just like glue it to the wall.
It's like caught in a 14-year-old's bathroom. But I was like thinking, for the controller for the grips, you could have had like the symbiote, the black on the back. That's where your grips were. They could have done something cool like that. At least at least it's better than the God of War one, because that God of War controller was ugly.
Yeah.
Riley, where are you at on this?
I like the designs a lot. I think it's definitely for the super fan, which isn't a bad thing. Like, if you're gonna display the console and stuff in like a living room, and you have like the Spider-Man controller, it's like, oh, this person's a Spider-Man fan, which is fine. Like, I like that they're doing that.
Agreed. Like I said, I'm glad that it exists. I do wish they went a little bit more in on it, especially, again, I keep thinking about that Starfield controller, and it is just, it's beautiful.
That's what I really like about the Starfield controller, is that it's like very just like,
oh, look what he just
right
did.
I know
he pulled a Ryan Turford here. He was just like, oh, speaking of that thing,
but it's just subtle, right? Like, it's a
nice.
cool looking controller. It doesn't have like a massive logo on it or anything like that. Like, the subtlety I really appreciate in gaming.
It almost goes with the game. Like, that controller feels like more almost immersion. Like, if you look down, it is so nice, that controller.
It is beautiful. Like, it's real nice. It's real nice.
Controller.
But Spider-Man 2 is coming. We're all stoked about it. But something else leaked over the course of the last few days, and we obviously need to talk about it. Where is it? I'm just finding. Here we go. Coming from VGC, written by Jordan Midler, PlayStation's Project Q handheld runs Android, leaked images suggest, and the handheld could launch later this year. Several images of PlayStation's upcoming Project Q handheld have appeared online. The images, which were initially posted to Injure and later circulated on social media, show the handheld as well as the internal components of the machine. The images also appear to confirm that the machine will be Android-based. This could mean that Project Q could theoretically be modded to run other game streaming apps such as GeForce Now or Amazon Luna. So we got a bit of a video here. It shows off just a little bit. Looking exactly like it did in the picture that we saw. Riley, does Project Q do anything for you? Are you stoked about this? Are you on a wait and see? Where are you at on this?
I like the idea of it because for me, it is I travel a lot. I go up north to visit my family and stuff like that, or I'll go see my fiance's family and stuff like that. So most weekends I'm away.
Okay.
So I like having the ability to maybe sit down for an hour and catch up on Spider-Man down the line or God of War, or Final Fantasy, like whereas like before it's just like my Nintendo Switch that I bring with me and that's it.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I like the idea of it. I wish I could download things on it, but I think that would just change the entire form factor. So it wouldn't be practical in that state.
Have you done a lot of streaming with PlayStation? Like even on their
I've done Xbox, and I've done a little bit of PlayStation, but like not enough to really comment on it with any level of authority.
Okay, Court.
Well, I'm the same with Rod. I've tried it, like I've dabbled in it. I was even testing it out the other day to see. I was at my in-laws and I was like, I left my PlayStation 5 on rest mode so that I could attach to it and see how the game's played. I didn't have that much latency, but like you're talking about going up north, and I was like, first thing I thought of was like the internet's pretty garbage there. So how will that work? Like I know that when I was in Texas for work, I used xCloud, and xCloud was great when I was trying out the Xbox. So I'm hoping PlayStation can get to there and have some sort of cloud service, and maybe that's what they're going into for the future. Because I do know that when you're trying to make sure that your console is left on to be able to even use this thing, I do worry if the price tag isn't ridiculous, then I think the barrier to entry is small and everybody will jump in. And even someone like myself, but that thing kind of looks big. Like I've said this before, I've had issues with the controller being bigger and heavier on the PlayStation, even compared to the Xbox. Like my Elite Series 2 Halo Edition is lighter than my regular DualSense. It doesn't even make any sense to me. And it's also the Xbox controllers are smaller. This is even bigger. So I'm really wondering about the form factor and the weight and holding it in my hand. I'm probably more on the wait and see approach. Like, you know, if Sony wants to send us one and we'll review it, sure. But I've talked to a lot of people who have like Steam Decks, or what's the one Mr. Midas has that he's loving right now?
The
Logitech.
Oh no, the Logitech, and there's also the Ally now as well.
Yeah, and you can do some of the same functions that you can still play the PlayStation games from, and I know people do it on Steam Deck and such. So it's great to have it in the space. I really think that Sony's going to have to hit it home with that price point. And if they don't, then why wouldn't you just get something that can play Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam at all at the same time, right?
Yeah, I've messed with it a little bit on Steam Deck, not a lot, enough to form an opinion, but I am going to go back and mess with it more over the course of the next week. So I'll have more thoughts next week about how the actual latency is, because when I tried it, it worked okay, and I have pretty good internet. Like I have a gig down and 75 up, so it's not bad. And I did find that it really depends on the game. I don't know how much I'd be wanting to play a Spider-Man or a God of War on it. Like a JRPG or something that's a little bit more, strategy focused is an easy win. But I'm going to go back and give it another world and see how I feel about it. Because the Project Q, like it looks exactly, I think, with what we expected it to look like. Like I'm kind of
Nintendo Switch with DualSense on the side.
Exactly. And like Steve brings up a great point with weight distribution being a huge factor.
Steve
right?
doesn't bring up points.
Steve brings up wins, unless it's about pineapple pizza. I don't know what to believe anymore. But the thing is that like this thing looks a little awkward to hold and a little bit weird to handle, and I'm curious to see. Again, PlayStation, I think you can prove us wrong. Send us over some. We'll check them out. We'll give our thoughts and opinions. Would appreciate it very, very much. But yeah, I'm curious to see when we learn more about this, because I have to believe that there's more under this, like more to this than we're just seeing. Like I hope that there is.
The amount of leaks that we're about to talk about will like even lead into the last thing we're going to talk about. We're like, it has to be happening. The amount of things that are supposedly coming in the next couple months and we haven't heard about them yet is crazy.
Like, for example, a PlayStation showcase that may be coming in August 2023. This is written by Lee Brady over on True Trophies. After the boring PlayStation showcase in May 2023 got everybody lukewarmed up for the year ahead, understandably, there's considerable hope from PS5 owners that there might be a few more upcoming PS5 and PS4 games for 2023 still to show. Well, there's rumors going on from Special Nick that says, I heard a little while back that there will most likely be an August show for PlayStation, and the plan was to reveal the Slim there. Maybe they're going earlier to combat the Xbox ABK news. So it seems to be, a recurring rumor here, a recurring theme that we're going to get another showcase, state of play, something from PlayStation in the next few months. And if this is true, because let's operate under the assumption that it is, Riley, what do you want to see from them? The last showcase that we got was very mixed. People seem to be, a little whelmed by it. What do you want to see? What do they need to do to kind of knock this one out of the park?
I think they just need to show off what their studios are doing.
Right.
I think that's it. I mean, like most of their last showcase, which was great, it had a lot of good reveals, but they were coming to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Metal Gear Solid's also on Xbox. Like even the Bungie Marathon reboot is also on Xbox. Like, and that's cool. And I think that a title like that should be there, but it's very like I just want to see what I have to look forward to that's exclusive. Like I want to see what's coming to that platform. Then anything that would get me excited that way, if it's if they bring back Sly Cooper, I'd be amped. Like Ape Escape, things like that. Like, or go another way, maybe Uncharted's coming back. Like stuff like that would be really cool. So I'm just hoping that they kind of show off what they've been sitting on for a while.
Okay, Court, I want you to look into your crystal ball. I want you to look into the future. Give me a date. When is this thing hitting? And what do you want to see from it?
September 28th. Wait, hold on. Let me look at the calendar. I just like that date. I don't know why that date just
that just hit you. Like there was no thought there.
Just hit me. June, July, August, September 28th is a Thursday. That's perfect actually, because Friday is the day that blog posts go to die. It's true. Any news that people drop like on a Friday afternoon, it's like you're just doing this to hide. It's like when like NHL teams like suspend somebody or like a player gets caught drinking and driving during the week. It's like Friday afternoon, all of a sudden the news breaks and he's like, yeah, how convenient. It's over to the weekend. But September 28th seems almost perfect. It's close enough to the release of Spider-Man so that you can do Spider-Man 2 stuff in there, because we knew they were going to get their own state of play. But I think at this point, we're actually going to get a showcase and they'll do the whole glow up there. They don't need to give it its own state of play. And I truly believe that we got the showcase we got because of the ABK deal, and they held back. Because how are you supposed to be going up against the court and filings and everything and saying we don't have anything when you blow everybody out of the water with a huge showcase? Because we haven't seen anything from Ben.
Okay.
We haven't seen anything from Sony San Diego, that studio that's supposedly working on the Uncharted game that was in their commercial. We haven't, like, they put the Uncharted game in the commercial and we still haven't seen the game. We're about to talk about another game that I don't think is a rumor. We're definitely getting this game this year too. There seems to be, they held back huge. I think watching that was the most un-Sony showcase I have ever seen. Like I just recently, you can watch the PlayStation 3 showcase from E3 again, which is, pretty much a dumpster fire, but it's almost as bad as the Xbox One showcase. Because after watching it again, I was like, oh my God, how do people get hyped after watching this? But I think there's a lot to show, and I'm right there with Riley. Like right before the Canadian Video Game Awards, we sat down at a table and you were there with us, Matt. We went over how many studios haven't shown a game. I think we got to like 7 or 8. It was a big list.
And in a while too.
Yeah. And
it's time.
And we know that they're working on Ghost of Tsushima 2. Like the LinkedIn profile has been up for like 2 years. And then we even just recently, we got another story we're going to talk about where Insomniac, an employee, just straight up was like, yeah, I'm working on an unannounced AAA game. Like, and everybody was just like, okay. All right. There's way too many games they're working on that we don't hear about yet.
Yeah, I think you're both kind of spot on. Like, Court, I do like the idea that maybe they did hold back. Maybe they took the L knowing that they're going to come back swinging later, because it's like, you're only as good as your most recent showcase, right? If they nail this next one, if they come out with hardware, if they come out with first party, nobody's going to be even thinking about the showcase that they had back in, late May, early June anymore, right? Like if they kind of really knock this next one out of the park, then we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, look at Xbox players. They had a great showcase and they forgot about the last 10 years.
Like, I don't know. So that's what I mean. I'm curious. I think September's too late. I think they're going to be, I think August, especially with these rumors, makes a lot of sense, where we start to get more of the info for what's coming for the rest of the year. I think I'm going to say August. You said September 28th, Court. I'm going to say August 17th. I'm going to say August 17th is when we get the next one.
Pizza bet. Take a date.
Pizza bet. I think I don't know, if we're going off of court logic, then I think it just depends when the Activision merger closes. And
okay.
And they got an extension to what, October?
Yeah, but I think the CMA that they're going through, the UK regulation, extended it till the end of August, and they hope to wrap it up before then.
Yeah, okay. I would think it gets wrapped up.
Yeah,
so I think that's a very good point.
I think whenever they get the green light, they'll be able to go
the next day. All right, everybody. Tomorrow's the showcase. Strap in. Get ready.
If you watch the PlayStation showcase that just happened, it felt like a lot of things, including Project Q, weren't supposed to be in it. Like it didn't, for pacing wise, it was like there was one section at one point where I was like, what was supposed to be there? There was supposed to be like a big game. And it just, right after they showed Final Fantasy 16, they went to like a bunch of weird stuff. I was like, what just, the pacing just went right off. I'm like, okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, stay tuned because we'll definitely keep you posted as stuff happens. But of course, as Court mentioned, we have a few more things to talk about before we get into a bunch of questions. We talked about this last week, but let's bring it up again real quick. With The Last of Us Part 2 remaster leaked by the composer. This is coming from Cade Onder over at Comic Book. Remaster The Last of Us Part 2 may have been leaked by the series composer. The Last of Us series is one of the biggest franchises in gaming right now, becoming so successful that it was able to exist beyond the game. And as we spoke about this, but yeah, in a recent Spanish interview, series composer Gustavo Santaolalla was told by an interviewer that they loved seeing him as a character in the game, and he went on to say that there's even more coming. There's a new version of the game, and players will be able to go up to his in-game character and request songs for him to play. So Court and I talked a lot about this last week. We think it's coming. We gave some pizza bets, I think, as well as to when that's coming. But Riley, do you want a Last of Us Part 2 remaster / remake? What do you think it is if it's real? I want your thoughts on it.
I'm down for it, but they have to add something meaningful to it.
Okay.
There has to be, if they're going to do that, then they got to deluxify it somehow. If it's a new story element or a multiplayer element, like that's the only way I would be.
And I think it makes sense. A glow up and that's it?
No, I don't think they would do that because I feel like it just came out,
right?
And you can play it there. Like I feel like they would add something special to it.
What would the Riley package look like? Because Court and I spoke about last week about like maybe like a Joel prequel between like right between like the years between Sarah and him meeting Ellie, and or a possible almost like Lost Legacy focused on Sarah and I'm forgetting her name.
Nadine.
Thank you. Nadine is Uncharted.
Yeah, sorry. Jesus, see? They're all
see? I know, my brain just went flat for a second too. Anyways, what would you want from it, Riley?
And date. When do you think it's coming out?
Oh man, I don't know. I would like to see more from Tommy's side because he went way ahead and did a bunch of crazy stuff, and you kind of stumble upon the aftermath of what he was doing as Ellie at certain parts. So I feel like that would be really interesting. And different elements of that, because like in how he gets through some of the challenges later in the story. So I think that would be really interesting, especially since Ellie loses a father figure. Maybe she finds a new one in Tommy or something like that. That would be cool, but that's just wishful thinking. And when I think it would come out, I don't know. Probably, I would assume after Spider-Man. I would assume if it's real.
So it'd be a late November, early December game.
Maybe, yeah.
It would make sense because then you're still getting the holiday people. You're going to miss Thanksgiving, but at the same time, that's Spider-Man. You want Spider-Man to get that 2 hits. Last of Us Part 2 is a proven commodity. Let that be the Christmas game that everybody buys for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. Especially with the success of the show, like it's not the worst idea. It's an easy roll, and you see Nintendo doing a similar strategy where they didn't have games for the release of the movie. But hey, we got Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and we have Super Mario RPG coming out this holiday, so you have a lot to look forward to from us.
And you're away from all those games. Like all those games will already come out, and every gamer's already bought them. So then they're like, "What am I going to buy at Christmas?" Well, there's the Last of Us.
If I was in charge of planning that, that's probably what I would do. But I don't know.
I think like a mid to late November works as well. And Marlene was the character that I was thinking of. I blanked on her name, but getting like Marlene and Sarah, like, before Ellie was born could be really cool as well.
Yeah.
We have an important question, Riley from Yarden, who says, so where does Riley stand? The Last of Us 1 or 2?
1. By a lot. Yeah. I really liked 1. It was
one of the best video games ever.
Yeah.
It is. I don't disagree. Just 2 is so much better. Let's get to
from a gameplay perspective. Yes, 2 is better.
Yes.
I totally agree. From a story perspective,
one is unmatched.
Sorry, Cor, what was that? What was better?
From a story perspective,
no, wait, what?
1 is unmatched.
What was that? What you said 2 was better?
Sequel always have better gameplay. That's just a thing.
That's a clip. Let's talk about one last story. We'll save the PS5 Pro discussion for next week because I feel like that's a longer discussion that I want to get into. But let's round out with one last thing that Court had mentioned. Because Insomniac Games may have a third AAA PS5 exclusive in development. This is coming from Sammy Barker over at Push Square.
Sunset Overdrive.
There's simply no question that Insomniac Games is carrying this generation for Sony. Well, we're not belittling the efforts of PlayStation's other first-party studios, but it's worth acknowledging that Marvel Spider-Man 2 will be its third release for the PS5 thus far. Fourth, if you factor in the dramatically overhauled Marvel Spider-Man Remastered as well. In addition to the upcoming Marvel's Wolverine, it sounds like the Burbank-based developer has a third unannounced project currently in production. Aaron Eberhardt, a former Blizzard staffer, teased the title as part of a Full Sail University seminar, which has been shared on social media. She's currently a project director at the developer. Riley, what is this game?
You know what? If I were to bet, I don't think it's anything as extravagant as people think it is. I would assume I could see a Sunset Overdrive port if they were able to work something out with Microsoft and get the rights to the first game, release that on PlayStation. That'd be great. Or maybe it's a spinoff from Spider-Man / an intro to Wolverine. Something like a really easy, small Spider-Gwen. Maybe they have a Venom spinoff game. I don't know. Something like that would be cool.
Do you think this could be a new Ratchet?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I'd love for it to be. The last one was so good. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, sure. Yeah, why not?
Court, what do you want out of this?
I would love, I'm right there with Riley. I would love a Sunset Overdrive. And if they can't do one, just do two and just act like it just called Sunset Overdrive and act like number one didn't exist. Mm-hmm. If you really want to get that is something Sony might do, right? Just to act like the other one doesn't exist and make a better one. If you didn't have Sunset, we wouldn't even have Spider-Man. Way I look at things.
Fast.
Sunset Overdrive is a great game, but I would love another Ratchet and Clank game. And especially because I think people are about to play a PC game real soon the fact that no one is talking about this game, no reviews are getting out about this game, does not look good for this game coming on PC. And this will be like the third PC release in a row that's like meh. So it's an opportunity and get Ratchet and Clank back in people's minds. But I think it's Spider-Gwen. I truly think they're going to keep that format of Spider-Man game. Then we had Miles Morales. Then we have Spider-Man 2. And then they're going to have Spider-Man 3. And I think Matt said it last week where he was like, well, it just makes sense to have 3 Spider-Men in the game. So then you're having Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, and Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. And it's just, I don't know. I think it just writes itself, and that's what they're working on.
Or we lose Peter Parker in Marvel Spider-Man 2.
And I'm also thinking how crazy it is that
and Miles.
If you watch this video, she says it like 3 times. And I truly believe that it was her bosses probably saw it after, like, yeah, you didn't need to say that as many times as you did. Like I said before, she said it. She's like I said before, I'm working on an unannounced AAA game over at Insomniac. I'm like, oh man.
Listen, the Marvel snipers will be out in full force if this is.
I'm surprised she didn't used to work at Ubisoft.
I know, right? I'm with you guys. I hope it's a Spider-Gwen game. I think that interstitial works really well for them, and we've seen that work so far. I could see a new Ratchet, but I'd also be really stoked to see if Sony was like, "What's new, guys? What do you want to do?" The last new IP that we got from them was a while ago. Was probably Sunset Overdrive, because Marvel Spider-Man, obviously, it's a known quantity. We know Spider-Man. I'd be really curious to see them just be like, let loose and see what else they've got in the tank for us. That's completely unrelated to anything that we've seen so far. Because again, they've been carrying this generation, and if anything, we've seen that they can crank out quality games quick and also not burn their employees out theoretically, because that's also nice.
Well, I was listening to an interview about that, and they were talking about the Spider-Man games, and they said one of the things that they've liked doing is because they've been bringing in new characters as the hero, it makes the game feel different for development. So when, instead of just always doing Spider-Man, when they brought Miles Morales in, they were like, oh, all new powers, it felt like they were actually making a different game. So they nurture their employees there. Shocker that works.
Shocker. We have a bunch of questions to roll through, so let's kick things off with Edward Varnell over on the Boss Rush Network at that retro code, who asks, do you think Sony will go all out marketing Spider-Man 2 with merch, commercials, special promotions, and a big state of play focused primarily on the game? Will they try to beat Nintendo, since Mario Wonder will also be in marketing mode? Riley, what do you think? How big are they going to go with this?
I think they'll go heavy. I think this is a massive release for them. So I would assume a lot. We're already starting to see it with some of the peripherals and accessories that got announced at Comic-Con. So I think we'll see a lot. A standalone show, maybe. Like, they could also just drop a trailer. It depends how deep they go with this rumored PlayStation showcase or afterwards. So maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Court, are we missing anything so far in this marketing push?
Well, they're going to be at Toronto Fan Expo.
Right.
PlayStation's going to be there, so I would assume it's Spider-Man.
Is it playable, do you think?
I really hope so. I honestly think it probably is. I wouldn't see the last time Sony was there. What was the game they showed? Because I remember playing, it was Far Cry 4 at the time from the Ubisoft booth. And I think that's I think it was Gran Turismo maybe, but the game was playable before it hit the stores. But I would think that Spider-Man will be at like Toronto Fan Expo, and they did a really good job with God of War and how they did these, photo opportunities, I guess, and Last of Us. But I would think we're going to get a huge marketing push that way, and maybe playable. Now I'm thinking about it, it's probably The Last of Us Part 2 that's playable there.
Yeah, I would assume.
I just was like, it's definitely Last of Us.
I would, whatever's there, I would assume it would probably be their San Diego.
And that's the weekend of what I think is the showcase, right? That's the same weekend.
Gotcha.
No, you said September.
No, September. You're right.
Did you see the San Diego Comic-Con Spider-Man 2 set?
Yes. Yeah, I only saw the 2 statues.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they rolled out with.
I hope they bring the statues, because Matt would just
be cool.
Matt would.
I'd get arrested.
Yeah, I was trying not to go X-rated here, but I was like, Matt would try and
it's cool.
X-rated. Like I was trying to steal them. What else? What do you think I'm doing to these statues?
They have Venom in the background behind them.
I know.
Oh, really? I didn't know
in the shadows. It's pretty cool.
His face kind of sticking out.
Did you see someone dissected the trailer and they zoomed in on Venom's face when he screams, and you can actually see a character's eyes and inside the mouth. Oh yeah.
Who did it look like?
Harry Osborn, but hey, that'll just ruin everybody else's whole theories that don't make sense.
Let me keep my outlandish theories. Yeah, I mean, this is their game for the year, right? Like this is their megaton. This is their huge one. They're gonna go all out. They have to. I think we're gonna get a big push for this game.
And I know Zelda came out this year, and everybody's like, that's the quintessential game of the year. But people are underestimating. You got Starfield coming, and you got Spider-Man coming. A lot of people fell off Zelda real quick. I was surprised how many people fell off that, because they already played the better game, Banjo Nuts and Bolts, a really long time ago. So when this game came out, they're like, well, I've already played this game.
I'm surprised how quickly. I'm not too surprised, because there have been massive releases, but I'm surprised they haven't announced DLC or something like that to roll that excitement in at launch into something else.
Right.
I just felt like the conversation about it is just
for Tuesday or Breath of the Wild. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Pikmin came in pretty hot and heavy, and then they have Mario, and they'll just keep that machine rolling into the holiday.
They got time, and they got stuff that they want to show. Bobby Miller at Smooth423 asks, do you think I should get the PlayStation Access controller? I usually only play MLB The Show with one hand. I also play with the controller above my head so I don't look at the buttons. With the show, I sit on my controller on a pillow out of eyesight with one hand. Thanks. Court, I can't really speak to this, so I'm going to default to you here. Does he need an Access controller?
If he already plays with one hand, I don't think he needs the Access controller. I do know community member Markus McCracken is going to be buying this. He's going to be a day one, and he's going to do a review for us. I don't know enough about the controller. I think it's great that it's there for people that need it, that type of controller, but I don't know. I don't know enough about the controller to answer that question.
Yeah, and true, it's going to be to each their own. I think ultimately that's it's their choice, and if they've grown very accustomed to utilizing the current remote, maybe there'd be a bit of a learning curve to a new controller, as anyone would experience. But it's great that it's out there, and I think it's going to be really valuable for people who have been struggling to enjoy games the way that we are able to.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of really cool content coming out of this as well, with just the different ways that you'll be able to manipulate the way that the controller works and the layout of it and how it functions. So I think this is one of those wait and sees. See once it hits and once it comes out, and see if it's going to kind of fit what you need from it. Drellesh asks, question for the show. Greeting, gents. Welcome, Riley. Thanks again for making the show one of my weekly highlights and putting a smile on my face. You're welcome. My question, do you think the faceplates are here to stay and part of the PlayStation design DNA moving forward? I'm wondering if the console development cycle, PS5 Slim, PS5 Pro, PS6, will have different faceplate options. Imagine a new GTA 6 faceplate, Wolverine, Batman, Final Fantasy, etc. There is so much potential moving forward. Thoughts? Riley, are we going to get plates in perpetuity?
I have no idea. I would like to think so, but I mean, looking at past cosmetic swappables like that, no. Nintendo did it with the new Nintendo 3DS, and then changed that afterwards, so the plates were moved. probably not. And I'm curious now too, if they're releasing a Slim as soon as this year, which is rumored, then how's that impact the sale of the Spider-Man console, which does actually come out ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're planning for that. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I hope. It would be nice if they did, but I feel like that's unlikely that they'll carry forward.
Court, where are you at?
I'm there with them. I remember when the Xbox 360 had plates and everybody thought they were the greatest thing, and then you get them and then you're like, yeah, I'll just switch back to the other one that I had before because it just looked awkward. I'm also right there. Like, the rumor is that the Slim is still the same size. Like, it's not. It's just like the plates are still work. So it's. If they were going to do more with plates, they would have done that already. Like, even the plates that they brought out that were different colors, you can't get them in stores anymore. It's like they did one run and they were like, that's it. Like they haven't put enough behind it. And Sony is common to do something that if they put something out and they don't put enough behind it, it's dead in the water. I don't think they're going to do more. I think they did the plates with Spider-Man because they knew they would sell, but we didn't get plates for God of War. I'm still in shock that we didn't. You would think that you would get plates with every major release. I don't think we're going to get that many, especially with the rumored PS5 Pro and the rumored PS5 Slim that's got a detachable disk drive and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. And the inherent trait of a new console like that, like a Pro or a Slim, would be to change the design slightly, which would make the plates not work at all. So I would assume they won't.
I think we will see the plates carry forward through the whatever is PS5 branded. I think the Slim and the Pro, they'll probably figure something out that it will be able to work. I think they'll be gone once the PS6 hits. I think they limit themselves far too much in a design aesthetic if they try and roll these plates over, because then it will literally just look like a PS5 again. So I think within the realm of PS5, we'll probably see a couple more. It will not be any much as what we want. We would want this for every first party game. We would want this for every massive game. It's not going to be that. They're going to sporadically hit over the course of the next few years. And it's not going to be anything that it's not going to be the amount that we want from it, I think. But we'll see. Jaden Rose writes in and asks, hello, Matt and Court. Welcome to the garage, Riley. 2 questions concerning Project Q. How do you feel about the possibility of this handheld device using Android? And how might the Android OS impact overall gaming experiences? Assuming the leaked video turns out to be accurate, what exclusive features or functionalities do you think Sony could include to set Project Q apart from the handheld gaming devices like the Steam Deck? Rhetorical question, could the Project Q even be on par with the Steam Deck anyway?
I don't think it could be a par on Steam Deck at all.
No.
That Steam Deck that's a beast. Like, Matt, you have one. You love that darn thing.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it's Android, all I'm thinking about is like, how long is it going to take for people to hack this? And everybody's like, look, I'm playing Game Pass on my Project Q.
The day it comes out.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I can think about. Everybody's going to have fun with this. I remember the PSP being like the thing where you could play Nintendo on way back in the day. I played Super Mario World on it. Like, that was awesome. So it's going to be fun. I still, as a person that plays a lot of video games, to me, I would rather have the Steam Deck or the Logitech because I could do all of it in one. The fact that those things can do everything in one is a leg up on the PlayStation Project Q. But like I said, if the Project Q is under $200, I think they've got something hot on their hands and everybody's going to want one. I don't know how they hit that price point, but they hit that price point. People are buying them.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think that if anything, Android just tells us that this thing is going to be very hackable and very moddable very, very quickly. You're going to be able to get in there and run probably things like Game Pass and everything else very, very quickly. So I feel like that is going to be the gateway that this thing could become in some way a competitor to the other streaming handheld devices. I don't think this is in competition with the Ally
would
or with
PlayStation block you as soon as they see that you're doing that.
I mean, you could just I'm sure you're going to be able to jailbreak this thing wide open within the course of.
But then, how are you supposed to use the technology to play wirelessly?
You still can't do it. It's an app. It's an app. That's
yeah, I guess. We'll see.
Riley, what do you think?
I feel like you guys pretty much nailed it. But I would like to know if I could add anything to this thing. I wish just give me a little bit of memory and let me download PSP and PS Vita games or something. That would be
sweet. That's a great call.
That would be sweet.
Matt,
that would be a great call.
Put your old cartridges in.
Anything like that. Like anything like that. Yeah, pop in a UMD, like go for it. Like that would be cool. Or even just download it from the PlayStation Plus tiers, or buy it or something like that. Let me just play it like handheld again. That would be, and you don't even need much memory. Like that would be perfect.
See, that's a light bulb, right? When you just said the PlayStation Plus tiers, what if that's an extra thing? Like if you have the Project Q, it unlocks PSP games and Vita games.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Especially all you really need to do is toss in, have a SD slot on this thing, let you toss in a memory card, and then download the premium titles and let you play them. I think that's a great call, Riley, and I think that makes both the premium tier retroactively better, but also makes this thing a better sell, because if you're able to hop in there and do all that, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you can bust that thing out on an airplane. Like, you don't need Wi-Fi. Just the little things like that would be a nice throwback to those classic titles. Would be,
and
just
the file
perfect.
Sizes are so small.
So small. It would be a non-issue. Just pop in a micro SD or something.
Exactly.
What was the Metal Gear Solid game on PSP?
Acid? Peace Walker.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Couple more questions left here, folks. Jaden Rose writes in once again and says, just wanted to add one more fun question pertaining to Spider-Man 2, because I know you both, especially Matt, are really looking forward to this release.
Like I said,
if you had to pick one iconic,
that statue,
you just leave it with me. It's going to look like a Fantastic Four suit after that.
Yeah, it's going to look like Spider-Man's webs are all over it.
Spider-Man off it.
Everybody's going to be like, why did Spider-Man shoot all his webs all over? And everybody's like, no, that was just Matt.
No, it's a Future Foundation suit. If you could pick one iconic PlayStation character to have a secret boss battle in Spider-Man 2, who would it be and what would their abilities be like? For me, I've already thought about this one, so I'll give you guys a sec. Cole from Infamous.
Come on, that's not fair. That is literally that is not fair. I wrote it down.
Did you? I wrote it down in my mind. It's another superhero-like character. You could just make it different enough from the Electro fights in the first game. Obviously with the lightning powers, or even do like the vampire version of him, or whatever you want to do. Like, there's so much that you could do. The
vampire version would be the better one,
right? There's so much cool stuff that you could do here with Cole. But is there anybody else, Court? Maybe somebody else that you had thought about?
I'd say Delson, but he sucks.
Well, people might want to wail on him then.
He was such a bad character. I don't. Damn it! It's one of my favorite games, and he just really steals it. And then Killzone doesn't have a character. And what's the guy from Stony Ben's game that he was really annoying? He'd be nice to beat up. Motorcycle guy.
I don't know his name.
Neither do I. That's how great that game was.
About Days Gone, right?
Days Gone. Yeah. I call it the game that I had to keep filling up that motorcycle. Like it was like you had Red Dead Redemption 2, which I had to have all these horse mechanics, and then Days Gone comes out, and you're like, you know what? We can do that with a motorcycle. We're like, why?
What if you fight the motorcycle from Days Gone?
The motorcycle from Days Gone. Well, you know what? I think Astrobot would be awesome from Astro's Playroom.
That would be
put him in there. Make him evil.
Make him evil.
Make him
Deacon. Deacon. Thank you, Seth. Thank you.
He's terrible.
Deacon, yeah.
Riley, any PlayStation characters you want to see in here for a throwdown with Spidey?
Well, I feel like the easy answer is Kratos, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, but Spider-Man
Blades of Chaos versus the webs, that would be pretty cool if you could.
Kratos would whip the living daylights out of Spider-Man.
I don't know. I feel like Spider-Man's gone toe to toe with like Thor and stuff like that. Like, it'd be an interesting little cameo. And Kratos is also in Shovel Knight, so like you could probably make it work.
Kratos is a good call as well. That would be a fun fight. That would be a really fun fight. Just a couple questions left from Steve Igvari. Hi, PlayStation Drive. Long time, first time. Would you rather pee every time you stand up or poop every time you sit down? Thanks, Hart. Asking the big questions here. Would you rather pee every time you stand up or poop every time you sit down?
Pee every time you stand up. No. As someone that, you know what?
You don't want to, dude. You don't want to do either.
As someone that's been peeing a lot lately, I don't want to do either of these.
Of course not.
Every time you sit down, like right now, we'd all be pooping. Damn,
I think
I don't think it's like in perpetuity. I think you sit down, get one out, and then you can continue on with your day. I don't think you're going to be like pooing the entire length of you sitting down.
But I think number 2. Stand more times in a day.
Well, yeah, like if I got up, would I do I pee the entire time?
No, I think you just let some out.
You just
The thing is, it's like, think about it. You'd have to like sit down on a toilet, let it out, and then basically
I'm gonna go with peeing. Peeing is easier. Pooing, it revolves. There's wiping. There's all these. Just peeing is just letting it go.
You need like an astronaut suit, right? You just every time you just stand up to pee, it would just kind of collect some, and then you just give it to your loved one.
Yeah, you could diaper it, I guess, if you pee.
Yeah,
you could just figure it out. You could diaper it, but the thing is, I feel like you pee way more than you poo. So,
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like that
take a silly question like this.
Not every pee time is poo-poo time, but every poo-poo time is pee-pee time, right?
And if you think about it, though, too, it's like you would get into this weird loop of like, let's say you fill that diaper up, and you have to sit down to like take the diaper off, right? Then you put a new diaper on, get back up, and soil yourself all over again. It's like this endless loop of constant diapers.
I think the poo though.
You would go with the poo?
I think poo. Yeah, well, like I could lay down or something. Like if there's a bench, I'd just lay down and nothing. I'd be fine, right?
Would you have to go from like standing, like jump, and then immediately lie down and kind of land like that?
What if I guess you could like fall onto the ground? You could roll onto the ground and then pick yourself up.
That's a good point.
And then you would never sit.
You would never sit.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what the Oxford's dictionary definition of sitting is.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
This is the real question.
If we're gonna get serious about this, we gotta get really serious about this. So.
We gotta get like really in depth here.
Really super.
So the definition is a continuous period of being seated, especially when engaged in a particular activity. So technically, you could sit as long as you didn't do it continuously. So you could sit down and get back up and just keep going up and down. You didn't have to.
Okay, so you could do like sit-ups. Like that wouldn't be.
This show was a mistake.
But like, yeah, I guess because like, could you like get down on like all fours and like just kind of exist in that state?
Well, I'm just telling you, it said a continuous period of being seated. But then what's the definition for seated? Because he said seating, right?
Yeah.
So arrange for someone to sit somewhere. So if he said seat, then it would be different. But he said sitting. So technically we could get away with every time we sit, as long as we got back up after not a long period of time, we wouldn't have to go poo-poo. So I go with the poo-poo.
Like start a
There's a
I like that
loophole
we're
in the
talking
poo.
about this for a greater amount of time than Project Q.
Yep.
Well,
super serious.
Well, I mean, one impacts the other, right? I think I'd go with pee.
so.
I think it'd be easier to manage. And again,
when you go poo, you're gonna have to pee, right? So you're gonna be doing both.
Yeah.
That's tough, but like it would be you couldn't walk anywhere. Like I don't know, like.
But again, like once you stand,
but as
I don't think
I know,
be,
but
like,
yeah, but like it would just naturally come eventually, right? Like, and then it would just be the whole like it increments throughout the entire walk. Like
no,
it would still yes.
How are you? Do
you know how to bladder works?
An IV?
Come on, Matt.
I'm telling you right now, Matt. If someone that is like, if you pee constantly a lot, guess what your bladder starts doing? It pees a lot. It like just needs to pee all the time. So he's right. If you start training your bladder to pee all the time, every time you stand, like every time you're standing or moving, it's going to want to pee.
Right.
Just like when you turn on the shower in the morning and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I guess I'm peeing.
Yeah, you have a coffee in the morning, like it's gonna hit you eventually.
Right, but the question isn't you have no control over your bladder. When you stand up, you will pee. It's not then in perpetuity as you continue to move throughout the rest of your day, you will continue. Your bladder just loses control. You're just going to lose it. If you sit down and then stand back up, you will pee.
Are you on like the hill you're going to die on? You're like, we're both like, you won't let this go.
All right, okay.
I think.
All right, Matt, whatever.
We will let this go.
And this isn't about us, Core. He needs this.
I know. It seems that way.
It's been a day. And our final question comes from Riley Little at the Riley Little, who asks, why is everyone on this podcast so cool? Riley, do you still feel that way after being on this show?
I don't know. I feel less cool having come on. If that no, you guys are the best. It's so much fun being here.
Thank you for coming on.
I stand by it. Yeah, of course.
We loved having you, dude. I hope you'll come back and hang out with us again in the future. If people wanted to hear more from you, Riley, where could they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter or X now at the Riley Little. Yeah, pretty much it. And I do the social media on X and Instagram for Walmart Canada Gaming. So
yes, you do. And there's so many cool stuff that you can find over there. So go check them out. Court, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at.
Whoa.
You can. Jesus, so you can find me on X. Did you hear what he's going to even call tweets now? They're just called X's.
X videos.
X's. So that's like he's just like listing off all his ex-wives. Like I don't understand it. He's supposed he's fascinated with the letter X, and he bought. I saw Riley's whole thing about who's going to buy the web page, and I guess he bought it like 10 years ago. That I even got disappointed about your whole Twitter thread about it because I was like reading it. I'm like,
your what thread?
So he bought the web page.
No. What thread?
The X thread. Anyways, you can find me on X at Court Lalonde, or you can find me on the other apps, Blue Skies and Threads. Same, but like no one's
You're on Blue Sky?
Yeah.
You told me you would get me in. You never even
I don't have a code thingy to get you yet.
Wow. All right. Well, you can find me over on X and only there in Threads, essentially, because I have friends who don't care about me.
Oh, no. Look, where do I get the code?
No, it's too late now. It's too late. We also want to, of course,
no, there is no code thing.
Our incredible patrons who make this show happen and everything at Carpool go as well as it does, including the show, which is not a mistake. Our ultimate producer is Robbie Bobby Miller, who you can find at twitch.tv/Robbie Bobby Miller. Tony Baker, who you can find at youtube.com/quest4pixels. Jonathan Brown, hit up his link tree at pme.jib. And of course, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team, Lee Navarro, who you can find at www.phoenixoverdrive.com, and of course, the homie Trucker Sloth. Our platinum producers, Markus McCracken and RJ Kern, and our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave, 1337, Bowsah, Cecily Carrozza, Dannohh, Drellesh, Emily O'Kelly, Hoppel, John 32, Jonas Young, Jose Jimenez, Marcus O'Neill, ScheiGuy, and Tim Aulph. Thank you all so very much. We appreciate you all incredibly. We couldn't do this without you. If you want to stick around, we appreciate you all. We have so much Spider-Man 2 content coming to the channel soon, but that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time. Peace.